Welcome to a special edition of The Big Story. We're discussing the latest developments in Malaysia. I'm Dylan Ang, coming to you live from the Straits Times newsroom. News just in, Malaysia's King Sultan Abdullah Rayatuddin has accepted the resignation of Prime Minister Mahathir Mohamad at their 5 p.m. meeting today. The Agong has appointed him as interim premier. Now here to tell us more is Malaysia Bureau Chief Shannon Teoh. Shannon, now interim premier after resigning as PM, is this what Dr Mahathir was hoping for? And how long are we expecting this to last?
It depends on what kind of timeline you're talking about. I don't think Mahathir was hoping for this to happen before the last weekend. This clearly wasn't in his mind. He wanted to govern Malaysia as peacefully as possible all the way up at least until the end of the year. But with what has happened and after he tendered his resignation letter, my sources tell me that he was prevailed on by the king to stay on as a caretaker and the interim, because there just isn't anyone else at this point. Someone has to be to take care of the house while political upheaval is happening. What that does tell us is that well, the king probably thinks the same way the rest of the country does, that no one out there in Malaysia really commands the confidence to lead the country.
I think on that note, I was just going to ask you, why would the king accept his resignation and then make him interim premier?
Well, I think the king didn't really have a choice. If someone resigns, if you were the CEO of a company and someone resigns, it's very hard to make them stay in their position.
Right.
But also because, as we discussed earlier today, Pakatan Harapan has lost its majority. Bersatu has left, which is ironically Mahathir's party, and Anwar's deputy in PKR, Azmin Ali, has left with another 10 MPs. They don't have the simple majority now, and basically by convention, Mahathir also would have had to resign anyway. But I guess one of the questions moving forward is how long can Mahathir stay as interim prime minister? How long can a country exist in such a state? Now, we are made to understand that the king is giving him maybe about 10 days, maybe up to 2 weeks for things to settle down. I think if you take the example of countries maybe like India, countries which are very used to having to form coalition governments, it's a very long time for the parties to sit down, negotiate what are the terms by which they are comfortable to govern together.
Right.
Malaysia in this situation now is unprecedented for us. We've always had a steady coalition, a coalition that was formed before an election. Now we have to form a coalition based on what's left after an election, and this is 2 years after an election.
Now, on a final note, it's been a hectic weekend and a Monday. Now, how much more upheaval do you think we can expect to see over the next week?
So, if the king has given it about 10 days or so, I'm not expecting things to be over by tomorrow, for example.
Right.
I there'll be a lot more horse trading. People came into the weekend making declarations, believing one thing was going to happen. It hasn't happened as they thought. There are basically two sides now, the existing Pakatan Harapan and then those who wanted to create this national alliance. They're still going to be trying to negotiate their way out of this without being too much harm onto themselves. You have to remember as well, some people in Pakatan Harapan who have left or wanted to form this national alliance, they are cabinet ministers themselves. So even if Pakatan Harapan manages to stay in power right now, there are a lot of positions to be filled. There's a lot of negotiations that you have to get done moving forward. Who's going to be the deputy prime minister, the finance minister? We're not even really sure if Mahathir is willing to stay on after this. It's pretty clear people will want him to stay on. All parties here want Mahathir as their prime minister. They believe that he's the only person who can legitimately govern Malaysia right now. He's in a good position, but there is a sense that he's frankly very fed up and tired of all the politicking that's happened over the week.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Shannon. Always a pleasure to speak with you. Now, of course, that was Shannon Teoh, Malaysia Bureau Chief for the Straits Times.